BJ from Game Gumbo. I've got my guests here, Dan Letzring, and Steve and I are talking about some of the spicy hot games we've all played recently. But more importantly, you were back on the show, Dan, last summer talking with Nicholas Yu about adventure tactics, and you've got some big news for us.
Well, yeah, it's on a boat. It's almost here. I know. We've been working on this so long, and we've been, working on printing it for so long, and the fact that it's just done and almost here, it's just, you can kind of just stop worrying so much. There was so much we were doing even while we were getting it printed. So it's nice to just be done with it.
Hey, so people that may have missed the show, though, what is adventure tactics? Nicholas, you did a fantastic job of explaining it, but give us the elevator pitch. What is adventure tactics?
So it was inspired by Final Fantasy Tactics. We really wanted to highlight the job class system, right? So it's basically a minis campaign game. And so there's a campaign that you're going through. It's choose your own adventure style. And as you go through, it's got encounters you'll hit along the way. You'll fight a boss. And what's great is the encounters are about 45 to 60 minutes. So it's not like a 3-hour investment for one fight and then you lose and you have to like do it all over again or something like that. 45 to 60 minutes. And every fight, whether you win or lose, you level up and you can start branching. But what's cool is it's completely freeform. So you could go like fighter 1, then cleric, then paladin, then like fighter 2. And like, you can just, as long as you meet the prereqs for the levels you're going through, every class has 5 different levels within it. And it's just completely, there's an infinite number of combinations you can do. Every character, they have passive abilities. And as you gain them, you can slot them in and out of your player boards to have different abilities each fight. And yeah, there's a lot of customization going on with that. So it's a lot of fun.
So on a boat, are you going to have, is it going to go to retail? Can people still buy the game later?
Yep, it's going to retail. It's big. It's like 10 pounds. It's a monster.
If I remember right, there's over 800 cards in the base game. Is that right?
Yeah, over 800 cards. It's a mammoth. And we had to make the box bigger. It was going to be 12 by 12, and now it's like 13.5 by 12.
Oh, wow.
It's huge. It's
big box. That's bigger than Empires of the North. I'm looking at a couple of boxes here.
That's a big box. Baby, yeah, it's big. So it's exciting. There's a lot of content in there. A lot of it's just it's jam-packed.
Evan says War Mage. Now that's my style. There's a bunch of classes on this thing. As I recall, Nicholas sent you a 20-page document fully realized with all the classes before you guys even started the game.
Yeah, we had a local event here, and we had been friends for years anyway, and we were just right next to each other. And I was like, it'd be cool, a board game based on Final Fantasy Tactics. That was it. That's like all we said.
Because y'all are both big fans of the game, right?
Yeah, it was my favorite game. And when I said that, he looked at me, he was like, yes. And not even 2 days later, he's like, hey, I've got an email. Here's my basic outline for the class system. And it's changed obviously since then, but it was, all the classes were there, how they were going to act, their abilities and things were pretty realized from the beginning. We just had to kind of adjust it for the game once the game was made. But yeah, he knew right away. So we've done, there were 21 classes in the base game. We have 3 classes in an expansion, and we have more content planned. We have a new starter that we're working on, a new starter class. That's a goblin who is an alchemist, and they get potions. They can slot the potions in and out of their equipment slots. And so that's, we're just working on more content for it. And there's so much that we want to do with it. So hopefully it's well received so that we'll keep working on it.
All right, so this was the picture that I had gotten way back when, I think it was during the Kickstarter campaign. Walk us through what people are getting inside this big. Look at the size of this box, Steve.
Will the box close?
Look at the depth.
Will the box close after you punch everything?
Actually, the box will close. It was tight before we expanded it, and then we made it much bigger. But we also added thickness to the cards, so they're going to fill it more too. So I don't know. It should close. It'll be fine.
Is that a campaign book down there at the bottom?
Yeah. So at the bottom, that's the campaign guide. It's going to have how you progress through the campaign. And when you get to an encounter, it tells you how you set it up. So you're kind of in the guide you're looking at, that's with the boards you're using, where the enemies go. It tells you how many enemies there are for 3 to 5 heroes, their hit points, their behaviors, how they attack. And then every enemy has a deck of cards. And so you flip the card on their turn and it tells you exactly order of operations, how they act. And you just use the guide to progress through that. And then if you win or lose, there are 3 different ways you could finish a fight. You either lose, you win, or you win with a bonus. So they have like a main objective that is when the fight ends. And then there's like a bonus if you can do it before the fight ends. And that's usually your make or break moment. You could probably win the fights. I mean, I wouldn't say no matter what, but you can't. They're hard. But going for the bonus is what's really going to kill you, because you're like, this is totally doable. We can get it. And like, you won't even be close. You're like, crap, we just have to kill them and get out of this fight now. Yeah.
Right.
So there's some really make or break moments with that, and some tough decisions with how long to stay in the fight if you're winning well, or I mean, yeah, it's gonna be it's tough.
And this is an IP that Nicholas came. This is his world, right? He's the world builder behind it.
Yeah, Nicholas came up with a lot of the world. We hired a friend of the graphic designer who did the layout on the campaign guide to write some stories. So there are 3 pages within the campaign guide that's just story as well, just to add some more lore to it. But Nick did the bulk of it.
So how many classes all total will there be?
So right now there's 24, and then there are 5 levels within each, right? So you can level up levels 1 through 5 for each class. And then we've got 3 ready to go for an expansion if we get there. And I think Nick has a lot more planned too. So
Okay.
Steve, you had something?
Verla has posted the Kickstarter link in there already,
thank
so
you.
we'll refresh the message a little bit throughout too.
Sure.
Yeah, that is and so if people want to get a copy of Adventure Tactics, I mean, there's a lot of game in this box.
Sorry, you cut out for a second. What did you say?
Yeah, so if people want to find this game, there's a lot of game in this box. How can they still get it?
Yeah, it's available on my website right now, www.letimangames.com. There's also a link at the Kickstarter for a pre-order through our pledge manager, GameFound. And so those are probably the 2 easiest ways right now. And then it's going to be in retail probably February, I think is what we're looking at for a release date.
So they can go right through their friendly local game store, and the game store can contact you and get a retail copy right there, right?
Yep, and it'll be in distribution, so some might have it already.
Okay.
Good deal.
Nice. And that's Adventure Tactics. A potential for an expansion. When we talked last time, Nicholas said, man, I've already started writing it.
Yeah, no, so we have one done. We actually have 3 kind of things done for next. And so one is just minis for all the bosses, and we'll have some expansion like encounters to go with it. But we've already got minis modelers working on the sculpts for those, and we have a mini expansion that just adds the new starter and 2 new classes and 1 more fight. Kind of like that hero pack, but a little bit bigger. Ready to go. So we're just kind of waiting to see how this goes. And I think we're planning on maybe a February, March Kickstarter for that. So yeah.
Sure. When you've got a good world, live in it for a while.
Yeah, that's what we're thinking. I've been getting pitches, and I just respond. I'm like, I'm not even accepting pitches anymore, just because we don't want to divert our attention away. This is kind of what we're really focusing on right now. And we just don't, I just don't have time for anything else, really.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that's Adventure Tactics, Domaine's Tower, available in February. And if you get the game, expect that there might be some expansion content coming down the road. That game is going to be fresh. Although, I'll tell you, Steve, with all those characters and the campaign book, we're talking about hours and hours of gaming anyway.
Yeah.
So